Welcome back to the Self Mastery Podcast. I'm your host and self development coach, Ricky Gorsey. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about self talk and how important it is to actually have a positive sense of self talk in comparison to having like a negative sense of self talk, which is rooted in like self hatred, just like self loathing, all that sort of stuff. So, self talk, what is it, right? It's the way that we talk to ourselves, it's the inner dialogue that we have with ourselves. Now, this can happen consciously or like unconsciously on the subconscious level, but it's always happening to one degree or another. Yes, there's going to be periods where it's just absolute silence. Yes, there's going to be periods where that inner dialogue isn't, going on, or that inner voice isn't chattering, but for the most part, it's going to be there to one degree or another. Now, why is self-talk important, right? Well, aside from the obvious that we don't want to talk to ourselves like shit, it shapes so many things in our life, right? It shapes our identity. That's a massive one. So the way you talk to yourself is shaping your identity on I'm talking like a second to second basis. If you're doing something and let's say you like make a mistake or something like that, if you're automatically in your head like, oh, you fucking idiot, why'd you do that? You fuck up everything. You stupid fuck. Like if that's literally how you're talking to yourself in your mind, you're not only creating a negative self-perception, you're not only creating an identity that doesn't serve you, but you're also perpetuating and manifesting that same outcome to, manifest within the world. What I mean by that last point is if you continuously reinforce to your subconscious mind that you're an idiot, that you're stupid, that you always make mistakes, that you always fuck things up, that is going to manifest. That's what's going to happen. If you are constantly saying to yourself, I always make mistakes, you're literally conditioning the subconscious mind. And so when you are operating in a day-to-day life, when there's a situation where, you might make a mistake or you might not make a mistake, the likelihood that you're going to make a mistake is significantly higher because you already have a belief system deep within your subconscious mind that you are someone who makes mistakes because you've conditioned yourself to believe so. So your self-talk is like a continuous conditioning program that's running towards the subconscious mind. And a lot of people are conditioning themselves in a very, very negative way. They might wake up in the morning, they might look at themselves in the mirror and a thought that comes into their mind of like, fuck, you're an ugly cunt. Fuck, you're obese. Fuck, you look like shit. Like automatically, straight away in the mirror. And that's how they're talking to themselves internally. Now, what is going to come from that is nothing good, right? Not only is it going to, as I said, manifest into reality, not only is it going to shape one's like identity and your self-perception and all those sort of things, but also it keeps you in a super low state energetically. If you're always walking around and you're like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm just all this negative stuff, do you think that you would be in a positive energetic state? Do you think that you would have a high frequency if you're talking to yourself like that internally? Absolutely not. You're not embodying self-love. You're embodying like self-hatred. You're embodying like self-loathing. And that is an energy that not only do you not want to embody, obviously, but you're going to then attract more things that are aligned with that energetic frequency. So I know self-talk can seem like almost like a surface level thing. Like, oh yeah, self-talk, it's just self-talk. It's just the way I talk to myself. It doesn't actually have any effect. But the reality of it is it has a massive effect on your life. Like multi-dimensional, like it affects so many areas of your life. It's actually insane. There's a really good quote that I love, and I don't know who said it. I think it's from The Art of War, the book. Basically, the quote goes, never speak bad about yourself because the warrior within hears your words and he is lessened by them or he's weakened by them. I probably butchered that quote, but the general gist of it is there is like a warrior within you, right? There is this version of yourself within you that is so powerful, that is so strong, that is so confident, that is everything you could ever want in life. But because you're not speaking to this warrior. And if you are speaking to this warrior, you're speaking to them in a negative way and you're pushing them down and you're not allowing them to surface and you're not allowing them to manifest through you, right? Because of your words, because you continuously say, I'm a piece of shit, I am fucking this, I can't do this, I will never achieve this, right? All this stuff, all these words, this way you talk to yourself, it needs to be not only positive, but like like drastically positive. You need to have like a Kanye level self-talk, like, Kanye West, right? His self-talk is like, I am, I'm the best there's ever been. I am unstoppable. I am a fucking machine. That's literally how you have to talk to yourself. And people might say, well, Ricky, isn't that delusional? Like to believe that you are the best of the best, even if you aren't. It's like, well, I don't think so. I think, you know, either way you're going to condition yourself. Either way you're going to program your subconscious mind. So why wouldn't you program it for success? Why wouldn't you program it to be the best possible version of you that is, available? Why wouldn't you want to bring forth the absolute best out of your, sort of like potential that you possibly can? Why would you settle for less? Why would you want to bring out a version of yourself that is less than you can show up as? And following that, I want to talk about how there are versions of ourselves within us. Okay, now what I mean by this is every single person has the potentiality within them to be an array of different versions of themselves. Now, what I mean by this is, I'll use myself as an example. Within me, I have the potentiality to be a lustful, lazy, like lack of motivation, no discipline, just absolute hedonism, instant gratification. Just I have that version of me, like that potential to bring forth that version of me, like at any given moment. Right now, I'm not that version of me because I'm not feeding that version of me. But that version of me is definitely within me. The potential is there. If I feed that version of me, I'll start showing up as that. Okay, so let's think of it like this. In each and every one of us, we have infinite potentialities, infinite versions of ourselves that we can bring forth. And the language we use to ourselves brings forth the specific version. So if you're using language like, I'm a piece of shit, I can't do anything, I'm a failure, I'm a loser, I, fuck up everything I do, nobody would want to talk to me, I can't do anything right. If we're using language like this, what version of ourselves are we bringing forth? We're bringing forth the version of ourselves that is a loser. We're bringing forth the version of ourselves that can't do anything. We're bringing forth the version of ourselves that nobody actually wants to talk to, right? We're literally manifesting and creating this version of ourselves through our words. Now, on the flip side of that, what would happen if we started talking to ourselves with the utmost respect, with the utmost, just like honor and pride, and we had the best relationship towards ourselves, and our inner dialogue was that of one of empowerment instead of one of disempowerment? So let's say we started using languages like, everything I do to the best of my ability. I am an absolute weapon. I am a machine. I am extremely confident. People love being around me. I genuinely thrive at everything I do. Anything I set my mind to, I can achieve. I'm a king. I'm a warrior. I'm a fucking unstoppable force of nature. Like, when you start talking to yourself like this, you're bringing forth these things. You're bringing forth this version of yourself. And yes, it's going to feel a little bit like weird to start with, right? Now, the reason it's going to feel weird to start with is because you're essentially going against an identity that's already there. So if you've been conditioning yourself for the past, let's say 10, 20 years, right? And the conditioning you've been doing to yourself for the past 10, 20 years is negative. So it's like, I'm a loser, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. To then start talking to yourself in a really positive way, you're battling that. You're going against it. You're literally going against like 10, 20 years of conditioning. And so you need to understand there's going to be a transitionary period where it does feel weird. It does feel off. It does feel like, man, I feel like an imposter, right? Like imposter syndrome coming up. That's completely normal. Now, this is where most people stop and where most people quit because they think, oh, this feels weird. This feels cringe, right? This feels impostery, whatever. And they stop there. And so they never actually get to unlock the next version of themselves. They never get to unlock the next version of themselves, which is, it's an absolute fucking tragedy because every single person has a version of themselves within that is much, much, much better than what they're currently operating at, including myself, right? There is always improvement to be made. There is always a version of ourselves internally that can be manifested into the external world through our words. But it's a constant game of refinement. It's a constant game of self-awareness and being able to catch ourselves in any period where we are being a little bit negative and we are being a little bit like too critical to the, sort of like self. And you just got to catch yourself and you got to like reprogram your mind, because when you first start with this conditioning process and you start to talk to yourself positively and you start to really bring forth this version of yourself, it's going to be a habit. Like, it's going to take effort, right? Because you haven't sort of like conditioned the mind in that sense yet. But after you get through that initial phase of like, not to get fucking all Andrew Huberman in here, but after you get through that initial phase of like connecting the neural pathways and you start to, create the neural pathways within the mind, and you start to really condition the mind to believe these things and to make it a habitual pattern, then it starts to become like almost like an automatic process. And then the mind goes from something that is against you, and your inner talk goes from something that is like self-critical and like self-hatred and self-loathing, and it starts to slowly but surely transfer to something that's on your side. So it goes from like your biggest liability, your enemy, to your biggest asset and like an ally. And as we know, the mind creates our reality, and if your mind is like against you, or you think your mind's against you, and it's always projecting negative self-talk, then it's going to like vastly affect your experience on like not even a day-to-day basis, like a literal second-to-second basis, because the inner dialogue is always there to one degree or another. This is obviously not the only, element when mastering the internal world. It's one, and even like how to reprogram the inner talk and whatnot. Like, there's multiple different areas and angles you should approach it from. But one way that you can definitely make a really good start is by just consciously catching yourself with that self-talk, and then replacing it with some self-talk that's much, much better. Now, where a lot of people's like negative self-talk comes out is in hardships, adversity, struggles, particularly failure. So a lot of people have like a neutral self-talk, I'm going to say, when things are going well. The self-talk's not necessarily positive, but it's not necessarily negative. It's just like neutral baseline. But when they fail, or when they experience something that, is deemed as a failure, that's when the harsh critic comes out. That's when they start to talk to themselves like, oh, you fucking piece of shit. Why did you do this? Why did you fuck up? Why did you fuck up again? You can't do fucking anything. That's when that critic comes out. And I think that's the best opportunity in that moment where that critic is talking, when that inner talk is going crazy, that like really negative inner talk, that is the best opportunity right then to catch it and to reframe it, and then to actually start talking to yourself in a really positive way. It's going to be hard, as I said initially, but it's a thing of consistency, just like with anything, right? Think of, use the gym as a metaphor. So you go to the gym, you want to grow your chest, right? You're going to go into the gym the first time. You're going to do a chest session. You're not going to wake up the next day with a fucking awesome chest. It's going to take a fair few sessions. Same thing with self-talk. You're not going to wake up one day with an amazing inner mind, inner self-talk. It's going to take some cultivating as well. It's going to take some reps, right? Just like you're not going to build a chest with 20 push-ups. You're not going to build a beautiful inner mind, a beautiful inner space, a beautiful inner talk with, 20 sort of reframes from the negative to the positive. So stay consistent with it. It is a lifelong journey. And if you do it right, your inner talk will actually just improve over the years. My inner talk, when I was younger, like when I was probably, how old was I when I like had a bit of a negative self-talk? Probably like 15, I'm going to say 15 was when it was like relatively negative. I started to catch myself really early on, and I was like, it doesn't, to me back then, I didn't really know much about the mind or anything like that, but just from a logical perspective, I was like, it doesn't really make sense to me to talk to myself like shit. Like, from a logical perspective, it doesn't make sense. I remember thinking back then when I was 15, like, there are so many people in the world that are already against me. Well, at that time I thought they were. They probably weren't. There's probably just a narrative. But the thing is, like, the world already has people and events and things like that which are going to be sort of against you, right? And there's already going to be critics, and there's already going to be enemies outside and all this sort of stuff outside of the mind. Don't be another one of those critics. Don't be another one of these negative forces that is just like tearing you down. For the most part, you're going to experience external negative critics. You're going to experience external resistance and critique from other people, which isn't constructive in any way. It's genuinely just to tear you down. So it's like, don't be another one of those people. You should be your own biggest supporter. You should genuinely be the person who backs you the most. You should speak to you the best out of the best compared to anyone else in the world. You should be your biggest supporter. You should speak to yourself the best. You should have this internal dialogue of fucking self-love and self-belief and genuine desire to see you become the best you. Because if you don't have that, I wholeheartedly believe that other people mirror back to you what you have in yourself. I remember when I first started understanding about the mind and I started treating myself better with more self-respect, I started to hone in on the inner world, the thoughts, the emotions, the healing, the self-talk, the self-perception, the healing of the trauma, all this stuff. I started to treat myself like someone I love. And I genuinely started to experience such a different, so many different interactions from people in comparison to how they treated me in the past. People can pick up on energy. People can pick up on the fact that you're treating yourself better. People can pick up on the fact that you have self-respect and you're talking to yourself nice and you are someone that you fucking value. People pick up on that and they mirror it back to you. And it's not to say that, people are just fucking sheep and they're just going to mirror back to you all the time, whatever you are. But just a basic law of human nature, it's people are going to sort of see how you treat yourself. And this isn't conscious, it's just an unconscious observation. People are going to see how you treat yourself, and that's sort of in their mind, it almost sets the standard on how they can treat you. It almost sets the standard on what they can get away with. You know what I mean? The level of disrespect or the level of just in general, the way they can talk to you. When they see you walking around and you're like, fuck, I'm a shit cunt, fuck this, fuck, I can't get anything right. Do you think that they're going to walk up to you and talk to you like you're a fucking king? Or you're an absolute phenomena, or you're a man of success? Probably not, right? Because they're just going to meet you where you're at with yourself. If you're someone who understands how to bring forth a different version of people, then you might talk to the winner in them. I like to do that. If I see someone talking down to themselves, I genuinely try and go out of my way to speak to the winner in them. Speak to the winner in them before the winner's even there. That's something that a lot of people did to me in my past. People would speak to the winner in me. They would speak to me man, they would say stuff like, oh, fuck, you're a young king, you're a weapon, you're killing it, bro. Even though I wasn't any of these things at that time, just facing reality how it is, but they were speaking to the winner in me. And that helped the winner start to come forth, right? As I said before, we have these versions of ourselves internally, and they need to come forth, but they can't come forth unless you're speaking them into existence. And sometimes, if you're not speaking them into existence, the rare person might. And all it takes is one little word or one little sentence that'll start to bring it forth. Something like, oh, and this is just something someone said to me literally when I was 15 years old. Oh, you're a young king, you're gonna succeed at anything you do. They said that to me. And at the time, I didn't really have that high level of self-belief. But them instilling that in me, I was like, whoa. I was like, that is awesome. It feels good, right? And it started to manifest this identity. And I was like, maybe I can. And then I started to learn you can, bring forth the winner in yourself. Super interesting topic, self-talk. It is so much more powerful than people think. It's so much more than just, the surface level stuff, as I mentioned. Now, let's talk about what the first step is. Okay, so the first step is awareness. You need to become aware of your inner self-talk. You need to start observing the inner voice as an individual entity in its own right. So for those who haven't got the gist yet in any of my other podcasts, I'm big on the whole self-realization thing, right? So you're not your mind. You're not your thoughts. You are the observer of these things. Now, you need to observe the inner dialogue. You need to become aware of that. You need to gain some subjective observation, or what some people refer to as psychological observation of the self, or of the projection of the mind. You need to start to observe these inner happenings. You need to observe this dialogue from a almost like detached perspective. If you become the dialogue, you can't observe it. You need to observe it. You need to be in like a third person perspective almost. Once you're aware of something, I want you to catch it and you can reframe it. So you can use a little tool that I used in my early days, which was ITTU, which was, is this thought useful? I used to literally question my thoughts, question my narratives. Is this thought useful? I repeated that like fucking, I don't even know, like honestly, at least 100 times a day. Anytime a negative narrative would come up, I'd say, is this thought useful? And from a logical perspective, it wasn't useful. It was like, no, of course it's not useful. I'm telling myself that I'm a piece of shit. So no, it wasn't useful. And then I would reframe it. So after I went, is this thought useful? I would then follow it up with a positive affirmation that counters it. And I would usually do 3 to 1. So if there was one negative one negative statement towards myself, I'd follow it up with 3 positive. So if it was like a statement of, I can't do anything right, I would say, is this thought useful? No, it's not. Then I'd say, I can do anything I set my mind to. I can do anything I set my mind to. I can do anything I set my mind to. And you're reconditioning the subconscious mind until it becomes an automatic process and you're connecting those neural pathways and it becomes automated. That's the thing. You want to automate this process. And then from this automated state, you can then build upon that. And then you get better and better and better and better. I really want you guys to understand how fucking powerful this is. This isn't just like some woohoo shit that you can do to sort of, make your life a little bit better. Like it'll just improve like one, bro, it'll change everything. It changes how you show up for yourself. It changes how you show up for others. It changes how others show up in relation to you. It changes what you take on. It changes the things you are doing. It changes fucking everything. Self-talk, it is absolute key. Do not speak to yourself in a disempowering way. There's a quote that goes basically, what are the 2 most powerful words in the English language? And people are saying things like, oh, it's like unconquerable, it's undefeated, it's confidence, it's power, right? They're saying all these words, and the person who's saying the quote is like, no, it's not. The 2 most powerful words in the English language are I am, because whatever comes after I am shapes your reality, shapes yourself. Right? If you're saying, I am an unstoppable force of nature that will achieve anything I set my mind to, you literally are creating that reality. And also, I want you guys to actually pause this podcast in a second, and I want you to say to yourself the following statement. I am an unstoppable force of nature that can do anything that I set my mind to. Pause the podcast and say that to yourself. Now, I hope you pause the podcast and come back and notice how it felt within your body. Okay, so when you said, I am an unstoppable force of nature that can do anything I set my mind to, notice how it felt within your body. Notice how it felt within your heart. If you pay attention, your heart opens. You can feel these energetic shifts within the body. And this isn't just some woohoo shit. Like literally experience it for yourself. You feel lighter. You feel like you can achieve things. It feels really fucking good internally. You're starting to embody a different emotion. Now, I also want you to pause the podcast in a second, and I want you to say the following statement. I am a piece of shit who cannot do anything. Everything I try and do, I fail at. Pause the podcast, say that. Now, if you pause the podcast and said that, you would notice the opposite reaction happened within the body. The heart would contract. You would feel disempowered. You would feel like smaller, less capable, right? And you would obviously have an emotion come up of the opposite of like joy or expansion. It would be like, misery and like just compression of like your capability. Now, understand that that's just one statement on either end. Imagine if you had these statements going on every single day. Do you think that would affect your energetic state? Do you believe that that would affect the way you show up in the world, the way you have conversations, the way you even look? Absolutely. You look at some people who in this world, in this life, and you can almost tell just from the way they look, the way they talk to themselves. When people look like their skin looks dim and they're like don't have that light in their eyes, and they like, you can just pick it up. It's very hard to explain, but you can pick up when someone has negative self-talk. They almost look like they lack saturation, right? I'm a photographer, so I have a media business, so that's photography terms. But it's almost like they lack saturation in their skin tone. But someone who embodies self-talk, like positive self-talk, and has that high level of self-love, it's almost like they have this like vibrant energy that's very, very noticeable. Their eyes light up in a certain way. It's honestly like an aura, like it's like an energetic field around these people, and it's very fucking noticeable. I can like honestly look at people and pretty much pick up on their level of self-talk. And I know that sounds like, well, this bloke thinks he's a fucking wizard. Not really. I just have had a fair bit of experience in talking to people, observing how they look, observing how their body language operates, observing all these things, and then understanding their inner world. I have a program called Internal Mastery where I literally help people master their internal world, every element of the internal world. It's a very intense but very transformative program. So I get to know people very, very well, and I get to make the link within my mind and my experience of how they look, how they operate, how they show up at the start of the program and then at the end of the program. And it is literally night and day. It is like, holy shit. Like this person seems like a whole different person. Their energy is different. How they talk to themselves is different. How they show up is different. They're walking and they just like emit confidence and personal power and like self-love. It's an actual, like, it's fucking beautiful to see. That's why I genuinely I love what I do so much. It's such a rewarding thing to be able to see the like metamorphosis, the change, the transformation that people go through when they work with me, when they do my programs. It's genuinely fucking beautiful. If you guys, just that program I was mentioning, I might as well sort of like give you guys a bit of a rundown on it. If you guys are interested, or you even have the slightest curiosity on internal mastery and you want to hear a little bit more about that, just reach out to me on Instagram, which is Ricky Gauci, RICKY space GAUCI, and just DM me the words internal mastery, and then I'll just give you a bit of info on it, run you through how it all works. But back to the self talk. So another good way that we can sort of like practice changing our self-talk is through journaling, right? If you journal, you should be journaling. That's a really good habit to pick up on twice a day if you can. When you journal, what you sort of get to experience is you get to see your inner world on paper. You get to see what's going on in the mind. When you're jotting out every single like thought that comes into your mind, you actually get to see the thoughts coming up in your mind in a visual way, which is really powerful because then you can have a deep insight as to what's going on internally. Now, if you journal and you see on this paper that there is all this negative shit, like all this self-hate and all this regret and pain and darkness, right? It's like, whoa, there is some changes to be made here, and the changes need to be made. Otherwise, it's just going to perpetuate and stay the same narrative, which will then manifest in self and identity in life. So journal, pay attention to what's going on internally, and you can get an insight on what is going on internally. It'll be a massive benefit to your life. Now, long-term benefits, just with the whole positive self-talk, you're going to have increased self-esteem, increased confidence. You're going to hold yourself differently. You're going to embody a different energy. You're going to feel fucking better. You're going to feel like a genuine winner. You're going to feel like someone who's genuinely worthy of love and respect and success and abundance and beauty and everything. You're going to feel worthy of this shit because you are talking it into existence. You are speaking it into your reality. And the thing is, just a little side tangent here about self-sabotage patterns stemming from negative self-talk. If you talk to yourself like shit all the time and you condition yourself to believe that this is who you are and this is what you deserve and this, even if you have something amazing come into your life, like a business opportunity, opportunity to experience something amazing, a partner who's so aligned with you and so like just fucking beautifully like linked to you, like someone who's just works so well with you, or you get like anything, any opportunity that presents itself to you that is aligned with a frequency that is outside of what you're currently embodying, you will literally sabotage it. You will, like, a self-sabotage pattern will activate within you because you don't believe you're worthy of this certain thing. And then you're going to self-sabotage that thing, and you will make sure that you don't get to experience that for a long period of time. Because internally, when you don't believe you're worthy of something, you want to confirm that belief. It's called a confirmation bias. You want to confirm that belief to yourself, to your subconscious mind. And so you do that by sabotaging yourself. Insanely fucked up pattern. Like when I first learned about self-sabotage patterns, I was like, what the fuck? Like, we can literally fuck up our own success. We can block our own blessings because we have a negative self-talk and because we have this negative internal world and these sort of these beliefs that aren't serving us. So that's just a little tangent, and just understanding that you can block your own blessings if you don't get on top of the inner world and really master that. Another thing you're going to have when you start to talk like good to yourself and you start to bring forth the winner within you is you're going to have greater clarity and focus on goals. Because you believe you're a winner, because you believe you're a king, because you believe you're the best you can be, you're going to show up in the world like that. You're going to take on certain tasks. You're going to do more, right? Another thing you are going to have is better relationships, right? We all want better relationships, don't we? You know, better interactions with everyone, with our partner, with our friends, family, all that. When you show up for yourself, you're going to show up for them as well. Not only are you going to be able to show up as a better version of yourself for them, but you're also going to help them show up as a better version for themselves as well. When you start to have a positive self-talk and you become aware of your own negative self-talk, what happens is you're going to be able to catch other people on their negative self-talk as well. And you can maybe speak to the winner in them before the winner is present. And you can have that positive impact on people, which is, in my experience, one of the most fulfilling things in the world. That's why I'm a coach. I love contribution. I love helping people. I love bringing forth a version of themselves that they maybe haven't yet had access to. You can do it too. You don't need to have a coaching business. You don't need to have all this experience and yada, yada, yada. You can just like plant seeds in people's minds of encouragement and power and just genuine positivity. You know, you don't have to be this like force in nature. There's like neutral. You know, you don't have to go through world and you don't have to go through your life and like not have an impact on people. And also you don't have to have like all this professional stuff set up. Like, you know, like I have a whole professional setup and a way to do things and programs and stuff because I'm a coach. I literally do this. Like this is my life's work. But it doesn't mean that people who don't have this stuff set up, who haven't chosen this as a career, can't make a really positive impact. It's just speaking to people positively. It's literally planting seeds of hope and encouragement in their mind. It's just encouraging them. It's, you know, feeding their dreams. It's like just being a genuinely good fucking person. It doesn't take much, but it can make all the difference. I still genuinely remember when I was first building my coaching business, there were like five people, like under five people who were pretty much like the only people who believed in me. Everyone else was just like saying to me things like, "Oh, that's fucking stupid. What, you know, why would you go down this path? Just stay as a carpenter," because I used to be a carpenter. Just, you know, fuck, don't worry about that, man. Don't worry about this. Don't worry. And I literally had to like block out all the doubt from every single person around me and just focus on the seeds of encouragement that these specific five people like gave me. I think it was under five, actually. I think it was like 4 or 3. But that's the power of belief. Like if you can just plant a seed of belief in someone's mind, it is insanely powerful. Fucking insanely powerful. Never underestimate the power that you have to completely change the trajectory of someone's life in an insanely positive way just through planting a seed of encouragement, love, hope, belief within their mind. And they will never fucking forget that either. When you bring forth a winner in someone, they remember who brought forth that winner. And when they succeed and when they embody it to their absolute truth, they're never going to fucking forget you. And they will always look after you. I have people who've helped me in the very early days, not in any financial way or any like, you know, they fucking done all this crazy shit externally for me, but they just spoke words of encouragement into me. And they fucking believed in me when I didn't believe in myself yet. When I had a lower level of self-belief and I didn't know if it was possible, these people were like, it's absolutely possible. They said things to me like, you were born for this. They said things to me like, you are the best person for this. I could see you absolutely doing this. You need to do this. They spoke these words of power into me. And they've stayed with me for such a long time, and they will always stay with me. They're a part of me now. And that's the power that you can have on someone. Also, understanding too, you can also have the opposite effect on people, which I highly advise against. Like if you're the sort of person who goes around and you sort of like, you know, say negative shit to people, even if it's just like a small negative remark, like understand that also stays with people. Don't plant seeds of doubt or fucking negativity in people's minds because they're going to take that with them, and that could potentially prevent them from doing the thing that they want to do because they believed the negative remark you had. It's just like, don't be a piece of shit. Don't plant seeds of doubt in people's minds. Yes, talk to people with, you know, like realism. Talk to people with logic. Don't feed them a fucking pipe dream. If you know that something, you know, is genuinely not for them. Like, for example, if I was to, I don't fucking know. See, my level of self-belief now is too high. I genuinely think that I can achieve anything. But if you have like someone wants to, I don't know, fight a pack of hungry lions and come out on top with their bare hands, right? It's like probably advise them against that. But don't advise them against chasing their dreams. Don't advise them against becoming what they want to become. Don't advise them against doing anything that disempowers them in any fucking way. Speak power into your friends. Speak power and like just potential into your friends, family, partner. You have the ability to shape these people and bring forth the winner in them. Don't take that lightly. Everyone has this power, but I see very few people practicing it. I see very few people embodying this power because for some reason, a lot of people believe that by lifting other people up, they put themselves down. Not the fucking case. A rising tide lifts all boats. When you lift others, they also lift you back. It's how it works. If I encourage you, you encourage me. It's an energy. It's a reciprocal exchange of positive energy. It feeds off one another. This mindset of like, oh, I'm not going to encourage this bloke. What if he gets better than me? Or, what if this? And it's just like prideful, tall poppy syndrome shit. It's like, bro, no. Come from a place of abundance, not scarcity. I like my catchphrase, my sort of thing that I end all my written content with is the coach that wants to see you win, Ricky. I genuinely want to see people win. It's not just some little thing I say. I actually really want to see people win because I know a rising tide lifts all boats. And I know that through impacting one person in a really positive way, I then have a chain effect on other people and I can positively impact them, like whoever they come in contact with as well. And so this might seem like a broad statement and a really bold statement, but through impacting one person, you're impacting the collective humanity because everyone has a chain effect. It all passes down the line. No one person just takes something and then like doesn't give it on. Energy doesn't just remain stagnant. It continues to move through the thing like a domino effect. If I go for a walk and I say to someone, have a good day, whatever I say, if I'm walking past them and I say like, good morning, hope you're having an amazing day, your outfit looks good today, something like that, right? Something super positive. I promise you that they will have this energy within them and they also want to give it away. They want to tell someone else. They might tell someone else. They might tell someone else. And then that thing might just like create a big domino effect of positivity. That's the effect you have. That's the power you have. Okay, so back to the self-talk. That was a cool little tangent on sort of empowering others. That's a really, really powerful little segue we had there. But back to the self-talk, actionable takeaways. I want you guys to start just being aware of your inner talk. I want you to start challenging it, use the ITTU method, and then reframe with 3 positive counter beliefs that are obviously rooted in positivity. That'll be a way to start to reframe the negativity within. Just catch yourself too. Just be aware of it. The more you're aware of something, the more you'll pick up on it. What you'll probably notice is when you start becoming aware of these things, you'll notice that they were always there. You just weren't aware of them, right? Like there is always sort of like a degree of inner talk going on, but oftentimes it's either so unconscious that we can't pick up on it, or we're so identified with it that we can't pick up on it. And so that's like the sort of like wool over the eyes, metaphorically speaking. But once you become aware of something, you have the ability to change it, not just in inner talk, but in anything. Awareness is always the first step. It's awareness, willingness to change, and then action. So awareness, willingness to change, the knowledge on how to change, and then action. You need to be able to know what to do. But guys, that is this episode. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you guys showing up. I appreciate you guys listening to content that is, based in self-development and is based in helping you become better and helping you help others become better as well, like we said. If you are interested in working with me in a one-on-one setting or joining my men's self-development community, the Self-Mastery Society, just reach out to me on Instagram, which is Ricky Gauci, RICKY space GAUCI. And again, I did mention the Eternal Mastery program in this podcast episode. So if you're interested in that, just DM me the word internal mastery. I don't really need to spell that out, but I'm going to. I know you guys can spell, but INTERNAL space mastery, MASTERY. Thank you guys. Have an amazing day. I hope you're absolutely crushing it, having the best day of your life, and I will speak to you soon. Look forward to seeing you on the next episode.